So Donald Trump is finishing up his last rounds of rallies, and like many others, this one was a complete unmitigated disaster. Now, the other day, Donald Trump had a rally, and he was bragging about his crowd sizes, and the cameraman actually panned over and showed all the empty seats, which was a major thorn in Donald Trump's ass because Kamala Harris pointed it out. But now he is slurring all over the place. Get a look at this. Well, hear it too, but here we go.
Has violated her oath, eradicated our sovereign border, and unleashed an army of gangs and criminal migrants. I mean, we have migrants pouring in here by the tens of thousands that are criminals from jails, from his violence.
So yeah, there is one, Donald Trump being very tired, very sleepy, but he's also going to be putting his crowd to sleep too. Get a look at this. Now, keep in mind right here, look at the women in the crowd. First of all, just look at this still frame. Everybody looks bored to tears. Everybody's like looking off. This guy is like fighting really hard not to doze off. And I like the fit. Garbage for Trump. But let's go ahead and play this clip too.
Think of what they did. 818,000
people on their
and
phones.
Then, last week they had to revise the figures from the previous month, 112,000. So that's almost 1 million fake jobs. I call them fraudulent. Fake isn't strong enough. Think of what.
Yeah, everybody in the crowd looks very tired, very bored, very low energy. Now, keep in mind, Donald Trump's crowd sizes and how engaged they are is like a major pride point for him. So that's why when people attack him, he gets very triggered over it. Nobody really cares but Donald Trump. He cares so much about it. And now here we go. Donald Trump, of course, has to go into the unhinged phase of his rallies too. So here we go. A classic clip from Donald Trump talking about how it's no longer 1798. Now, keep in mind, they had slaves back then, of course.
I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Can you imagine? That's when they ran it a little tougher.
Yep, that is one way to put it. Of course, like I said, 1798, they had slaves. Now, Donald Trump is referring to the act in which he wants to use to enact his mass deportation policy. It is a horrendous policy. It will damage the economy in ways not seen before. And even by Elon Musk's own admission, Donald Trump's economic policy, including the mass deportation policy, is going to crumble the economy. But I'm not sure if people in the crowd know or even care, because if you told them, they would probably deny it. They would call it fake news.
They weren't so politically correct in 1798. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. I will invoke.
So there we go. Now, here is the absolute last one, the absolute craziest portion of it, which made the media. Let's go ahead and play this as well. This is Trump joking about journalists being in the line of fire, getting shot. So here we go. This is actually in Pennsylvania.
Intelligence. And I have a piece of glass over here, and I don't have a piece of glass there. And I have this piece of glass here, but all we have really over here is the fake news, right? And to get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news, and I don't mind that so much, because I don't mind.
Of course, and Donald Trump has attacked the media multiple times now. It is a very interesting strategy that Donald Trump is under the light more than ever now, because during his huge rally in New York City, it was so absurdly racist that the mainstream media covered it, and he actually had to walk it back, where he put out this really embarrassing song trying to win back the Latino vote, the Puerto Rican vote, because he realized his campaign team, someone probably told him, hey, Donald Trump, or as he would like to tell stories, sir, you have a large portion of Puerto Ricans in the swing states that you need to cater to, because if you don't, they could possibly make sure that you lose the election, sir. And they had tears down their eyes. So Donald Trump had to get out there and try to placate to them. But They didn't buy it. He had the whole garbage truck event. People didn't buy that either. So we would have to see, well, we are going to see what happens in about, 2 days now. But it is a very interesting strategy where people are calling him a fascist nonstop. People are finally paying attention to him. And the people who are independent voters, the people who aren't really tuned in to politics, who still vote, they are focused more now than ever. And they are going to see in about a span of a week, Donald Trump have a guy on stage that made insanely racist jokes. That is they would call it jokes, but let's be serious. They mean what they say. And Donald Trump talking about, or as he would like to say, joking about journalists being in the line of fire, when Donald Trump has talked about, he has attacked the media multiple different times, talked about revoking ABC News' credentials, which because he lost to Kamala Harris in the debate, it was an absolute disaster for him. So there we have Donald Trump doing a very interesting strategy in terms of talking to people, knowing that the mainstream media is going to be covering it 2 days before the election. So we will have to see what happens, but it's going to be very close. And the polls aren't also looking good, especially one of the major polls that's very accurate. I'm going to be talking about that too. So let's see what happens.